Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. Those of you who have been following my broadcasts and reading some of the columns I write in various media will know that I have a particular view about the publication of short-term price data and how I believe that it's meaningless, irrelevant and misleading information. If you're talking about changes on a weekly basis to house prices or even a monthly basis, it's too short a time frame, and really media shouldn't publish this nonsense which is put out by particular organisations whose main objective is to maximise the publicity they can get from their data. So this week we've had some really stupid headlines in some very major publications around Australia based on the latest month-to-month changes in Sydney house prices. Now, I believe very strongly that month-to-month is too short a time frame to measure anything significantly that's happening in a property market, and it should be ignored. Quarterly changes is the very smallest time frame that should be considered, but really it's the annual trends that are most relevant. But media just loves publishing this data that shows how much house prices in the various cities have moved from one month to the next. And if you put them all on a chart for the last 12 months, you'll see that prices are just all over the place in terms of this monthly data. Up one month, down the next, sideways the next, then down, then up. It's quite common for this almost schizophrenic behaviour to happen with prices if you look at it from the month-to-month basis. Why? Because monthly changes are irrelevant. They're just statistical aberrations usually. But the latest data that came out for the month of March has created the usual media excitement, and it's all about the fact that the decline in Sydney house prices, there's been a pattern for the last 5 or 6 months with small monthly decreases because the Sydney boom is pretty much over, and we're now seeing some small level of price correction in the Sydney market. But in March, apparently, according to one set of figures, the degree of decline in March was less than the previous months. Therefore, according to media, Sydney house prices are close to bottoming out. After 4 years of boom, the downturn, according to media's interpretation, is only a matter of a few months, and then prices are going to start rising again. In fact, the headline in one of the major Sydney newspapers today said, "House hunters warn to buy now before prices begin to rise again." Talking about Sydney house prices, all based on the latest monthly change, according to one source, in Sydney's house price index. I mean, it's just rubbish. It's nonsense. And I'm 100% certain that what they're suggesting here is not going to happen. After 4 years of boom, which prices have gone to record levels and affordability is a real issue at all levels of the market, we're not going to see 4 or 5 months of downturn and then a return to boom. It's just not going to happen. Last time Sydney had a price boom was way back at the start of the century, 2001, 2 and 3. And let me tell you that the percentage rises that happened in Sydney and other places at that time were in excess of what we've seen recently. Claims that the recent Sydney boom was unprecedented are just rubbish. It's actually quite tame compared to the growth we had at the start of the century. But after that particular boom, after 2003, what we saw with Sydney was 2 years in which prices declined a little bit, not a lot, but it was 2 years of minor decline, and then the market plateaued out, and there was a 10-year period in which Sydney prices didn't really grow very much at all until the recent boom started around 2013. I would be expecting a similar pattern this time. I think Sydney is going to go through quite a prolonged period of where the average price performance across the vast Sydney metropolitan area is going to be minor decline for a while. I don't expect a big drop in values because all the factors that created Sydney's boom in the first place, the strong state economy, the big level of spending on infrastructure, the population growth, the wealth that's in the community, that's all those factors are still in place. So it's going to put a floor under values. But the notion that we're seeing in media today on the basis of these monthly figures that Sydney prices are going to start booming again, it's just not going to happen. And the flimsy evidence on which they've based these headlines, it's really sad and pathetic, but it's typical, unfortunately, of Australian news media, particularly our metropolitan newspapers, the writers for which really don't know very much about real estate. If they did, we wouldn't be seeing headlines such as Sydney housing prices close to bottoming out according to CoreLogic, and this other one, house hunters warned to buy now before prices begin to rise again. Rubbish. Don't believe it, and certainly don't base any buying decisions based on it. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Hotspotting signing off. Talk to you again soon.